Salam alaikum. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you for joining MICA. I would like to start by talking a brief about MICA. Your anchor for today is Kubrat Kadiri, that's me. And welcome to MICA. Welcome to joining today's live session. For MICA, the vision of MICA basically is to see Muslims return to a state of Islamic excellence. And we deliver several programs such as Feeding the Soul, creating safe space, economic development leaderships, and competency capacity building. We also try to encourage positive interactions and promote passion for the deen. So we would like to let the audience to inform them that they should please follow us on Instagram at MICA Nigeria and on YouTube at the same time. Now, today we'll be having our guest speaker for this wonderful session. His name is Alhaji Wale Hassan. We'll also be having with us today Ganiya Suleiman Olokodana. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing the name properly. So I'd just like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Alhaji Wale Hassan is a journalist who's worked with Niger not getting it well, Niger FM as a content producer and writer. We also have with us here Sister Ganiya Suleiman, who is a trained clinical psychologist, a faith-based psychotherapist, and a certified family therapist. She's also been engaged in several programs for couple and youth leadership retreats, to say the least. There's so much about her that we'll know moving on the program today. So please, we'd like to start with Alhaji Wale Hassan to please introduce us to today's topic, which has to do with health. Please, we'll call on you now to please carry on with today's program. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Sister Kubra. Thank you so much for the fantastic introduction. It's my pleasure to be part of this. Niger FM is the largest community radio station here in London, United Kingdom, and it's indeed a great pleasure to be part of these reach out to the community, especially as we act as a bridge between the Nigerian community, both here at home and in diaspora. We're so grateful to be part of this. Alhamdulillah, this is though a faith-based program between MICA and Niger FM, but it appeals to beyond any particular religion, because what we're discussing has to do with the body, mind, and soul. And can we really talk about the body, mind, and soul without bringing in a professional? And that explains why we have Sister Ganiya Suleiman Olokodana with us here. And without much ado, we'll be very delighted to listen to his salam from Sister Ganiya before we move straight into the proper program. We want to say salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be on this program. Thank you so much, my brother.
Alhamdulillah, a quick rundown of events. We will be very delighted to have these as interactive as possible. Let us start off with this. For those who are panelists, you're free to make use of your camera if you want to come on air by using your camera, but please keep the microphone muted throughout unless you are permitted to talk, or probably you've indicated your interest to come here to contribute on the program. Likewise, the call line will be left open very soon, as we shall be calling and having much of discussion on the topic for discussion. Likewise, in case you want to indicate your interest to communicate or contribute, you can use the hand raise option. Meanwhile, the chat will be as busy as possible. Feel free to write a comment on chat. We are broadcasting live on terrestrial radio, that is Niger 101.1 FM here in London, and anywhere we can be picked on TuneIn, just dial Niger FM and you are live with us. Now, we are also on Facebook Live and YouTube. I'm sure we're connected on the IG too. However, your comments, your observations are greatly appreciated. Let's go straight into it by taking a dive into the topic for discussion. We're talking about mental health issues. A lot of people are concerned, but the worst of it is that much more of us are silent. Do we have a clear understanding of the real issue? Why are we silent? What are the reactions from the community? These are many more, and the way out, those are the things that we shall have a quick look at. And it's not, as I said earlier, it's not just a talk. It's much of an interactive thing. And can I start off with this? What do we really mean, Sister Agonia Lokudano? What do we really mean when we say mental health issue? What is mental health? Is it not madness? Because that is what will come to a lot of people's mind. Oh, mental health. Oh, no, I don't want to talk about it. It's madness. What, from your professional angle, what is it all about? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That's your question really made me laugh. But really, mental health is like the twin of physical health. The same way we are expected to take care of our physical body. Whenever we are ill, we go to the hospital, we go for a checkup, we take medication and all that to get better. So also, should we do the same, if not even more, for our mental health? In the first instance, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So it's not just about the physical this time around. Our emotions, our psychological, that's our mind, and our social well-being, that's our social interactions with other people. It also affects how we think, act, and feel. As human beings, we always say it, we are emotional beings. Those things matter a lot. So sometimes even when we are looking physically okay, if our mind is not at peace, if our mind is not in the place where it should be, then we are still not, mentally all right. And the first step to being mentally healthy is to learn to reach out and speak out whenever there is need. In the last 1 year plus, we know the whole world has been in a kind of turmoil. Everything has changed. I mean, about 18 months ago, we were not doing this kind of thing. We're all meeting physically, interacting with each other and all that. But with COVID-19, everybody has had to take a retreat. We've all gone virtual, so to say. And things like this, we, as human beings, we react to situations like this in different ways. Some of us, over time, we've learned to adjust. We've learned to cope. In fact, we've almost started to enjoy this virtual way of living. But for so many other people, they are still unable to cope. They are still finding it hard. The fact that they are not able to go out like they normally, like they used to do before COVID, is still having an effect on them psychologically. So we need to take care of our mental health more than anything in this present situation that we find ourselves. And how do we do it? We need knowledge first and foremost. We need to know about ourselves. Many people have realized during this time. I mean, like I was earlier introduced, I'm a clinical psychologist, and I must say that since the pandemic started, I've had to do a lot of counseling. I've had to do a lot of helping people overcome these challenges of COVID-19 that they're having. Even people that don't physically have the ailment, they've not been affected by COVID-19. But the psychological impact of, you want to go out, you don't know whether the next person, the person you meet at the bus stop, the person you are going to see in the office has the virus, or has come in contact with somebody that has it. So that fear is always there. So we need knowledge. First about what do we need to do as individuals? How do we prevent ourselves? How do we stay healthy? How do we keep our sanity, so to say? We also need to understand our physiological and biological makeup. Some of us, we are in the vulnerable category, so to say. If we have any pre-existing medical condition, then we should know that it's not a death sentence. It's not automatic that we are. It's easier for us to contract the virus, but we are more likely, if we are exposed unnecessarily, we are more likely to, be affected. Our life experiences too can also affect us. So people that have underlying psychological issues, they have at one time or the other suffered some psychological conditions, maybe anxiety and other forms of psychological trauma, are also more likely to be affected by the ongoing pandemic. Also, our family history. Yes, sometimes people always say, "Oh, is a mental illness? Does it run in families?" Sometimes it does, but it doesn't mean that even when people have, a family history of a mental illness, they still can't prevent themselves from, having a mental illness at one point or the other if they take the right precautions. So as individuals, as Muslims particularly, we also need to acknowledge the faith factor. When everything, when things come like this, we have to remember that, God is always our anchor. And so our faith is something. And even when we are not Muslims, we all profess one faith or the other. Our faith is something that we should hold on to. But for us as Muslims, we know that we are already prepared. Allah has told us through his prophets, peace be upon him, how to deal with situations like this. So, that famous hadith of the Rasul Sallallahu that, as Muslims, we tie our camels, then we put our trust in Allah. So one of the ways we tie our camels as Muslims is to do things like this, to teach each other, to learn how we can better prepare for situations like this. This thing has been going on for more than a year now. Wallahu alam, we don't know how long it's going to last. It may end in the next few weeks. It may go on for the next few weeks, months, years. So we need to be better prepared. We need to constantly, re-energize ourselves to connect with other people, to learn how to connect with people, particularly as we are doing so virtually nowadays. So this is what, dealing with our mental health is all about. And I'm so happy and glad that MICA has teamed up with Niger FM to reach out to more people. One of the things I've also found out as a professional is that sometimes people they are scared of opening up. They are scared of speaking up, of reaching out. And so when they have an opportunity to do so under a form of anonymity like this, they can open their minds, they can lay out their fears, they can afford to be vulnerable, so to say. And inshallah, help is always near. So once they take that bold step, that show of strength by reaching out, then they should be assured that by Allah's grace, help is just a call or, a click away. So inshallah, we hope that people will call in and share their experiences with us, and then we'll be able to together prefer solutions to what is invariably affecting almost everyone in the world today. No matter how strong you are, one way or the other, we are all affected by the ongoing pandemic.
I love that. Help is just like a click away. Yeah. And that is the reality. I'm equally interested in knowing this. How does the community, the society have come into this play? A case of stigmatization is there? Reaction from people, views, or even cultural practices? Does it affect one's mental health or wellness?
Of course, it does. We are all a product of our society. I know there's always this controversy going on between nature and nurture. which is more powerful. But the truth of the matter is that it's always an interplay. You know, as human beings, we are affected. We're a product of our biology, of our biological makeup. So yes, we are either male or female, and all that. Whatever it is that Allah has deposited in us as we are coming into this world, it will always, you know, play a major role in how we turn up as individuals. But at the same time, our environment, wherever we find ourselves, also has an impact. So someone who is probably in like UK, the environmental factors there, the ease of accessing certain facilities, healthcare, what have you, you know, everything is, I mean, compared to Nigeria, probably a bit more, you know, easier to access. Things are better planned, you know. So these things would have an effect on us as individuals part time. But it doesn't mean that people in the most rural parts of Nigeria over time would also probably not have developed, you know, the kind of resilience that is needed. In fact, I've had many people say, oh, it's like for those of us here in Nigeria, so to say, Allah has kind of blessed us. This is the time we appreciate the ruggedness of our environment. You know, we haven't had as many cases, so they are probably saying maybe the stress of living in Nigeria hitherto has now become a positive thing for us in terms of COVID. So we have lesser cases, unlike other countries, particularly the developed world. So, you know, as they say, in all things, we can look at the positive side. But whatever it is, at times like this, just like we've had people abroad that have contracted the virus, we've also had Nigerians or people in Africa or other parts of the world also contracting it. So at the end of the day, it boils down to our individualness. How are we taking care of ourselves? First, that individual responsibility to protect ourselves, just like Islam encourages us. Our bodies have a right over us. How are we protecting this body that Allah has given us? Then, as a community, because whatever we do, we are social human beings. We interact with one another. Somebody wants to go out, but the next person they will meet in the bus or in the market, are they being responsible enough to also take care of themselves so that they don't expose people that come in contact with them to the virus? So this is where community, you know, effort comes in. We all have to come together as human beings, as a society, as people living in the same space to protect one another. So even as many people are getting vaccinated, for instance, now, we need everybody to still stay safe, to still practice all the COVID-19 protocols that they've told us, so that, you know, because yes, getting the vaccination is not 100% immunity against contracting it. So, you know, it's a continuous thing. We have to keep educating one another. We have to keep updating our knowledge about this thing. Just recently now, I heard that even the Delta variant has, you know, entered Nigeria. So, because right now people they are like at that stage where they really don't care anymore. And unfortunately, this is not the time for us to go spiritual, so to say, because when things like this happen, the anchor that most people hold on to is their faith. So they'll keep praying it away. They'll keep pushing it away. Everybody will suddenly become, you know, that favored child of God, that's beloved of God, that they are not likely to get it. But when it comes to things like this, I know Islam, for instance, is a religion that is realistic. And what the Rasul Sallam has told us when, you know, we are faced with a pandemic like this is to stay safe. It's not about just praying alone. We need to protect ourselves. That's why the Rasul Sallam said whenever there's an epidemic somewhere, the people in that environment, in that community, should stay there, while other people should not go there. This is to prevent, you know, community spread and all that. So yes, our faith also has a realistic solution for us to deal with these issues. We need to learn to protect ourselves, first as individuals and also as a community.
Thank you so much. And as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this program, we are reaching out to members of the community. Don't hold on to your issues. Discuss it, seek help, find a way of sharing your thoughts, your knowledge, your experience with others. It goes a long way in finding a solution to the issue. You need to mind your mind, care for your mind, body, and soul. Again, mind your mind. The call line, because we want it as interactive as possible, the call line is 079 567 29941. That is for those who are within United Kingdom. Outside UK, please dial +44 79567299941. Again, for those of us who are on the Zoom, you can see on your chat box, you can have the number there. So +44 79567299941. It's a free WhatsApp call. It will be picked here, and by God's grace, our guest, Sister Agonia, is here to address the issues. Let me throw another controversy into this. You're talking about nature and nurture. Now, a lot of people believe that whoever you are, you have that 5 minutes. How realistic is that 5 minutes of, misbehavior, so to speak?
Well, I'm sure you're talking about that famous quote of everybody has their 5 minutes of madness. Exactly. Well, the term madness itself is relative. And sometimes that something is widely said or widely assumed does not necessarily mean that it's correct or it's a fact of is a statement of fact. What is madness? The way you see madness will be different from the way I'll see madness. But for me as a professional, for instance, I cannot assume that somebody is mad, in quote, unless I have, given them some kind of assessment and their results, their responses have shown that, okay, based on, current statistics, this person may be exhibiting some form of madness. The same way people are likely to, make a diagnosis of themselves and say, oh, I'm depressed. I'm not feeling all right. I'm anxious. In the first instance, those are labels that we may sometimes give ourselves wrongly. But, they may also, one way or the other, have an impact on our mental health. If we think that we are depressed or we are exhibiting madness, psychologically, we may begin to, what they call self-fulfilling prophecy, see ourselves as, actually having such. But, let's look at some symptoms, some experiences that we may be having, particularly in times like this, that can, give us an idea whether, okay, it's time to kind of seek professional help, even if it's just to assure ourselves that, come on, there's really nothing wrong,
Nothing do me.
Yes, nothing do me. Sometimes you may feel like you have malaria, but when you go to the hospital and they run a malaria parasite test for you, you'll be shocked that it's negative, and you'll be like, because you have been so sure that you have already, made that diagnosis for yourself that my mouth has been bitter, I've lost my appetite, so I must definitely have malaria. And then you run the malaria test, parasite test, and you actually don't have malaria. Because sometimes, a lot of these illnesses, they come with similar symptoms. So yes, over time, we may be feeling blue, so to say. We may have a loss of appetite. We may have, we may feel lethargic. We are just not interested in doing things, what was there? You want to go out, but you're like, I don't know who I'm going to meet on the road in this COVID, and then you just sit back at home, So, things are not, you are not your bubbly self. You haven't been your bubbly self for a while. These things are expected, particularly in times like this. There are some of us, we probably don't step out of our house, of our homes in days, in weeks, because of course of the pandemic. We are trying to practice, social distancing and all that. We are isolating at home. But these things take its toll on us. So it's expected that we may experience some form of mood swings every now and then. And even our relationships can be affected. As I said earlier, we are social human beings. we are happier when we are interacting with other people, most of us. But because of COVID, we can't go and visit people just like that. We don't know whether they will even open the door for us because they are scared. Maybe we are bringing COVID. We don't know whether the person we are going to meet has been, exposed to COVID. So these things are affecting our relationships, both our social relationship, both our work relationship. A lot of businesses have had to shut down. A lot of people are working from home. Some of us, we've been exposed to the virus. We've had maybe friends, colleagues, relatives, loved ones that have, been affected by the COVID. So it has taken its toll on us psychologically and mentally. And for some, they've not even had any contact, but that fear, their fear of, has been heightened. So, in one way or the other, we find out that we are all affected. So even if it's just to speak to somebody that can assure us that what we are experiencing, we are not alone. Sometimes just that knowledge that, because some of us may think, I'm the only one going through this. It's only my family that has been affected by COVID. It's only me that have had my boss at work, my friend in the neighborhood, one of my relatives, We may think that the world is closing up on us, that it's only us going through this. But the truth of the matter is we are all experiencing it. And when we know that we are not alone, when we reach out to people that can help us, not people that will tell us, are you the only one? What's there? Please, your own case is small. Lagbaja's case, 10 members of their family have died. We don't want such doomsday kind of people. We want people that, yes, they would empathize with us. They would understand that even when our fears seem unfounded, but because we are human beings, because we know the impact of these things on us as individuals psychologically, we understand that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be anxious. And, just reaching out, just, giving them soothing words can help. That's what we need to do for each other.
Thank you so much. My catch line on that is nothing do you. Nothing.
Exactly.
Don't overstress yourself. Make sure that you share. And I want to say again that you are free to call in on 079 567 29941. Again, the call line is 079 567 29941. You can type in your questions too. Feel very free. And this is as a way of helping the flow of questions and answers. I will not, okay, I think we got a caller online right now. Let's take that call before we go into the other questions. Hello? Hello, caller?
Hello?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing too?
I'm good. You like to be a part of the program. If you're free to mention your name and where you're calling from, and if you choose not to, no problems. You can do that anonymously.
Yeah, I'd rather just stay anonymous. So,
all right.
First of all, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh.
So I have like a comment. I'd like to say thank you very much to the speaker, explaining so many dimensions how this affects and all. So I just wanted to share one thing and also ask my questions firstly. So first of all, I'd like to know how you can know the best person to talk to. How can you like identify the person that you should be talking to? Then secondly, you might not be affected. So like, probably you never had COVID issue, you never lost a job, you never did one or two things. But then you have friends, families that they have been affected, they have been, they've had issues, and then they reach out to you at that particular time. You probably are disposed, you can't assist them. But it's also going to affect you, basically. It's also annoying you that why am I not able to to help this person? And how best can you go about such feelings? And how can you identify someone that who you can talk to? You might try your best. Sometimes you try your best, but as it is, you can't like probably assist everybody or help everybody. But so like it's also very, very it also gets to the mind. It's also, you can think about it for days and like, why can't I But then some other priorities and some other things will just keep coming, and then you'll be like, okay, you can't kill yourself, but it's also
life
it's
is
also
like bicycle.
part of the problem. Iwala.
All right, thank you very much for that call. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother, for that call and question. Yeah, I think particularly with what's happening, social media and all that, asking that question about how do you know the right person to reach out to, it's really very important. Everybody is now a specialist, is an expert in something. People hide behind their phones, their screens to dish out knowledge and all that. But I think by and large, mental health is still a specialized field. So we have people that are certified to help other people to practice, so to say. And so you can go online, you can search for professionals. A lot of information about people that are practicing professionally is out there. You can also get referrals from people that you know, from friends, from people that have used such people. And of course, we have different types. We have mainstream professional mental health practitioners who can help you with a lot of issues that you might be going through. We also have people that practice from the spiritual perspective. So we have faith-based psychotherapies that help people also deal with issues like this from a religious perspective. A lot of us, like I said earlier, what has really been keeping us has been our faith in God. For those of us that are spiritually inclined, that our faith is an integral part of our lives. We may also want to access mental health from professionals that understand our faith perspective. Sometimes they may not even share the same faith with us, but they appreciate and understand the influence of faith in the lives of people, and they are able to help. Programs like these also help to showcase people like us that do this work. So feel free to reach out to the organizers. They can point you in the right direction. With regards to your second question about, helping people, yes, like I said, there's hardly any one of us that doesn't know somebody that knows somebody that has been affected by COVID. But, as hard as it may sound, the best thing we can do, the best way we can help them right now is to, first of all, preserve ourselves. Self-preservation should be a priority for each and every one of us.
Mind your mind. That's what I call mind your mind.
You need to preserve yourself for them. It's like, when COVID-19 first started in America, in Canada, almost everywhere, even in Nigeria here, once people were taken into the isolation center, their families were not even allowed to see them. We heard, so many touching stories of people that were just looking through the barriers that were set up. They could not even say their goodbyes to their loved one as they were passing on. So, but self-preservation is key, because you need at least the lineage to continue. So they need to preserve other family members. And another way you can help them is to point them in the right direction that they can seek help. So if you know anybody, you have anybody, whether it's a friend, a family member that has COVID or, has been exposed to it, it's not by going to visit them that you show that you care. It's by pointing them in the right direction to seek the right kind of medical help, seek the right kind of help, so that they would survive it, they would overcome it, and then all the loving up, all the support. But while you may not be able to be with them physically, you can still show your love and support virtually. Thank God for technology. You can, send them prayers. You can chat them up via WhatsApp or Telegram, or, there are various social media platforms. You can also call them virtually. They will still know that you are there for them. So it's not necessarily by going to visit. I know that's a cultural thing for many of us. We need to show. So people are having naming ceremonies now. They are doing weddings now. And then, I must be there. Yeah, this person has been there for us too. So their child is getting married. We need to also be physically present. And then you get to the place, and all forms of, stuff are going on. People are not practicing social distancing. They are not wearing their mask and all that. And everybody is now, exposed unnecessarily. So that's not the way to show we care as a people. We need to show we care by being responsible as individuals and as a community.
Show you care by being responsible, either as an individual or a community. That is the more reason why Nigeria FM and MICA and Nigeria has decided to come together and show that we actually care. I must acknowledge those who are in now, and Abiodun Noimat Durowoju, Olaide Tijani watching us online, not forgetting those who are already on the attendee list. A lot of you, Adegbuyi, Abdulwasi, Abdulakim, Abdusalam, Adegbuyi, Aisha, Ahmed, Amdelat, Vet, Aminat, Oladunjoye, Ayodele, Ayola Balogun, Bakis Abdrazak, Hassan Banjo, Moise Salam, a lot of you there. We just want to acknowledge you and say thank you very much for being a part of this. You can also call in by calling on 079 567 29941. 079 567 29941. It's a call line from UK. Make sure you add the +44 at the beginning. I got another caller here and a question on the Q&A section. Hello, caller.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good too. You're free to either mention your name or keep it anonymous. Sister Agonia is here for you.
Yeah, okay. So I think I would prefer to stay anonymous.
Okay.
I'm calling from Nigeria.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask because what we're doing here is actually very important this time in our lives. So I was going to ask. So this is something that we're organizing, a safe space. So I'm going to ask that how do we get people to also replicate this kind of thing? Because definitely this is one, and I'm sure we don't have enough, and we actually need much more than we do have. So we need a lot of safe spaces, a lot of places where people can go to locally and see people and meet people, talk to people about how they feel and what they feel. So how do we get people, probably through training, or how do we do that? How do we replicate this kind of effort?
All right.
So that's the first of my questions.
Okay.
So the second one is also based on what Asika mentioned, Mr. Ganiya, about being indoors for a long time, affecting our relationships and stuff. So in the aspect of mental health, I wanted to ask that for some people that get to stay indoors for a long period of time, sometimes excessively long, is it not possible that when these people at some point might start to have signs and symptoms of schizophrenia and things like that? So, and if that's the case, how do we deal with cases like that? How do you handle it?
All right, thank you very much. Sister Agonia is responding to your question. I also want to quickly add one of the questions.
Okay.
It's very relevant to the first question the caller asked. The caller says, how do we situate mental health and distinguish it from possession, that is spiritual possession, spiritual attack? Mental health is, is something that is almost physical. It's mental, it's almost physical. It's something that can be diagnosed, that can be, but when we're looking at spiritual possession, it is something entirely different. And what is the intersection between the mental health issue practitioner and the Ruqya specialist? Ruqya is going spiritual now. How do we determine where to go in line with the caller's question?
All right, thank you. Jazakallah khairan to the caller. Thank you for reaching out. Yes, like you said, I mean, particularly with what has been happening all over the world, there has been increased need for, people seeking mental health assessment and all that. And yes, while there may never be enough people helping out, but certainly a lot more people are coming up. People are getting certifications to help other people, particularly when they realize, okay, they have an inclination, they have a passion for it, they are becoming certified. So we have people across the world, even here in Nigeria. We have a lot of bodies that have to do with counseling, with therapy and all that. Well, you can Google it, or maybe reach out later and you can have access to some of this information. So that's not a problem, inshallah. We also have people doing these things virtually now. One of the things that COVID-19 has also made us do as a mental health professional is to, we have to protect ourselves first too. So a lot of therapists have also, shut down their physical offices and are now reaching out to people virtually. And for me, my personal experience, I also realized that it has even made more people reach out. There's no barrier of, they have to come and see me in my physical office. Maybe they are quite a distance from me. I'm just a phone call away. We can arrange a virtual meet on Google Hangout or WhatsApp, video call or Telegram and all that. So a lot more people are reaching out, even from the comfort of their homes, to access mental health virtually. So it's making it easier. It's making it easier, so to say. So feel free to reach out to the organizer so that you can get more details. If you need it yourself or you need to refer people that are close to you, may Allah make it easy for us. With regards to the one, mental health issues over time are usually, is a thin line really between, for us as Muslims, when we say people need ruqya, it means we see their behavior, their overt behavior. Maybe they've been behaving in a funny way over time.
Claiming to see what we
see. We see it from the we see it from the spiritual angle. Yes, there is a place for such in Islam. But I think with the way the world has gone now, we can only conclude, so to say, that somebody's issue is spiritual after we have gone the mental health route. That person has, gone through some form of assessment, psychological assessment, a diagnosis has been made, they have done some form of treatment, and we see, okay, no, their case has, in quote, defied solution, so to say. That is when we can now look at it from the spiritual angle. As Yorubas will say, it's time to go and teselebo and all that. But I think as Muslims, particularly in this 21st century, it's important that we first address this issue as professionally as we can. Even better for us, if we have so many of our spiritualists, our spiritual leaders, our ruqya specialists, also equipping themselves with the skills, professional skills that they can use to help their clients deal with those issues. So when somebody comes to you, because we know that a lot of us as Muslims, we also like to look at things from the spiritual angle. So when things like this are happening to us, we are first looking at it from the spiritual angle that, hey, maybe I'm possessed by jinn, let me go and speak to my imam, If the imam does not have the skills to help you deal with those issues, unfortunately, sometimes they may actually do more harm than good. But if the imam themselves has some form of training, knows, the simple first steps they need to take. So will the person ask you to first go and, do a proper assessment from a professional? Sometimes these things, we only need to fill some forms, answer some questions, and then we'll be able to make a proper diagnosis that, what this person, people can suffer hallucination. They will see things, they will hear things that are real to them. If they've not slept in hours or days. There are some people, if they don't sleep in a night, they will be acting, like this famous president, they are going to see crazy just for not sleeping. So some people mustn't lose 8 hours of sleep. I remember when I was doing my internship in one of the military hospitals, people if they don't sleep for some days or some hours, they are bringing them back to the hospital because they are already like going crazy, so to say. Whereas what they really need is just to sleep. So sometimes our problems are not necessarily spiritual, but the solution is in what we need to do ourselves. This is where knowledge comes in. This is where knowledge comes in. If people have not eaten, they will hear their ancestors talking to them. They will see their ancestors chasing them. These are the realities of, you know. So it's only after we've eaten, we've done all the necessary things, we've taken the necessary medication, we've gone for psychotherapy, you know, talk therapy, and then this thing still seems to persist. Then we can now look at it from the spiritual angle, because we know that, yes, these things, there's a place for this, for things like this in Islam. But that shouldn't be our first step, because what we are looking for in Sokoto may just be, you know, in the pockets of our Sokoto. So great. Sometimes these things are not necessarily spiritual. They are just an indication of, you know, some certain psychological experiences that we are going through. And once somebody that is hungry has eaten, you know, well, and has had enough sleep, they will stop to see all those people chasing them, you know.
Thank you so much. For those of us who are online, you're free to use the hand raise option and be a part of this. You'll be allowed to speak, ask your questions. You are free to either mention your name or keep it anonymous. That is really welcome. For those of you also online, please kindly share this signal. Make sure that it gets to everyone. Allah, thank you very much for joining. Abiodun Noimot Durowoju, thank you also. You are really acknowledged. Somebody requested for the contact. Before the end of the program today, we'll surely have someone from MICA giving us more details of the resource person today. And you can also be part of this by calling 079-567-29941. There's a caller online, but before then, I have another question here, and it has to do with men. Be a man up. That is an issue I want us to discuss. But let's take this caller first in order not to waste time. Hello.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing? Hello.
Oh,
I think there's a signal failure there.
Brawali, I think you need to raise your voice. Someone's commented that your voice is a bit low.
Low? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to be louder. Hello.
Hello, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have a question for the speaker.
Okay, you want to remain anonymous, right?
Yeah. I'm in Nigeria, Lagos State.
All right.
So, I have a question prior to the current trend on social media, which more like an advocacy for male child. Like, for instance,
could you speak up a bit, please?
Hello, Kola.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, could you make it louder, please?
Okay, I said I have a question for the speaker.
Good.
It's in relation to the current trend, at which it's more like an advocacy for the male child to speak, like the male child in the society. Well, I don't know how true the statistics is, but they said most of the people that committed suicide are male as a result of depression. Well, I want to believe it is as a result of the Naman-Yubi syndrome that the society often give as response to every male that is crying out for help. Now, what is the Islamic approach to that? Because I know the Prophet said that, like, aside cleanliness, you have to be humble to practice the religion. That is, you have to be tolerant. You have to do. Is it in the same line? Like, can we relate it to that line of not speaking up, not expressing your
emotions,
problem, emotions? Let me just put it that way. And when I mean emotion, I don't mean relationship wise, but actually the hustle, like life in general, because it is not being fair on the male child. If you can't provide, if you are not providing financially, I'm sorry to say, they will just sideline you. Like, you won't be relevant. the family will even recognize you. Like you turn to someone, don't go back any meeting. So I'm sorry to say. So what is the Islamic approach to that? And in general, you can just shed more light on the
mind will be
like that's okay.
All right, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you very much. I must acknowledge someone raised his hand now, Abdulsalam or someone. Well, feel free to raise your hand. I'll call you, but let's take the response from guest today. First, Sagonia.
Well, thank you for that that very sensitive question. I think it's something we as a society, and even those of us that are professionals in the field, are realizing too late that while we were busy, speaking for the girl child, a lot of people, a lot of societies somehow forgot that they needed to also, talk about the boy child too. And that is the result that we are seeing now. There's nothing like Naman you be, so to say, where our emotions are concerned. Being, in the first instance, being male and female is just, a form of physical differentiation that Allah in his wisdom has given us. In fact, in every female, we have certain percentage of us that is male. We also have the testosterone. That's why sometimes you will see some female, maybe their voices will be husky, they will be kind of manly, they'll have features looking almost like a man. And also you have some men that are feminine, maybe they even have this funny female pitchy voice and all that. This is just Allah's way of showing us that, look, we are invariably the same. He has chosen to make us males or females in his own wisdom. But when it comes to our emotions, we feel the same things. When we are pinched, we'll both feel pain the same way. When we are injured, when we fall down, when people hurt us, we feel pain the same way. So we also need to learn how to, express our feelings. Society has somehow made the male child, the male gender to suppress their feelings. And as we can see now, the pressure pot is full and, is burst open. As male, we need to learn to openly express our feeling. It is not a sign of weakness. There's a difference between, for instance, like Rasul Sallam told us, for us to express pain by maybe, shedding tears, crying a little, as different from wailing and, rolling on
the floor.
Yeah. So Islam, helps us to manage our emotions and control our emotions when need be. But it doesn't prevent us from expressing our emotion. And Islam has a place for everyone. Yes, we are, as men, certain things are expected of us. We are the ones that are expected, to take care of our families and all that. But guess what? Islam also makes provisions because Allah knows that it's not all men that will be able to do that. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. And guess what? The best of mankind, the Holy Prophet himself, Sallallahu, he has shown us the perfect example. While he told us that, yes, the man is the head of the family, is the provider, he also got married to a woman that was like his boss, that was like his employer, that was richer than him. And if he could live, he could be okay with that. It's just to show us that, look, this is how to be a man. Being a man, even when, in quotes, you are not the one in charge. You are being magnanimous in your, and being humble when need be. So for us as Muslims, I always say Islam is a realistic religion. It knows, he has presented us with practically any example that we can think of. It's now left for us as individuals. How are we choosing to see things? How are we choosing to see things? If you're having challenges, are you seeking help in the right direction? Perhaps that is the way to be a man. Seeking help when you really, 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 really need it. It's also the way to be a woman. It's also the way to be a woman. So whichever gender you are, our emotions are the same. We experience pain the same way. We experience happiness. We are happy the same way. You know, we find fulfillment in the same things. So our agenda is just to, you know, for society to continue, for procreation and all that, and for us to perhaps fulfill certain roles that Allah has, you know, prescribed for us. But our emotions, we are the same. We feel pain, we feel joy the same way. So please, my brothers, if you have any challenges, feel free to reach out. That is the best way to be a man. Feel free to reach out for the right kind of help. And seeking help in the right place from the right people also matter, so that nobody would challenge your manhood. Nobody will make fun of him and say, "You what? So you two, you think say you be man? You can this small thing. No, when you reach out to a professional would never do that to you. A professional would see you first and foremost as a human being that needs help and will be willing and ready to help you.
Thank you so much. And for those who have contributed, I really want to appreciate you greatly. I have Abdulakim Abdisalam with hand raised here. You are allowed to talk. Kindly unmute yourself and bring in your question. Ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum tala.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. I think I put this question on the question and answer before, but it's not attended to. Let me quickly say it now. So we thank you all for coming to our aid for this topic. May Allah subhanahu assist every one of us. There's a friend. So we noticed recently that he's behaving, his speech and his actions. We just take picture and start sharing it. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we are here with you now. Yes,
we can hear you.
Okay, so we noticed from that fellow that is misbehaving recently. So there's an advice from an elderly person that we should take him to Yaba. So we trick him until we get to Yaba. So we collect the form and he fill the form by himself. He was even telling us, "Are you taking me to Yaba Aposi?" No, and what time Yaba Aposi was saying all these things. So when we got there, after filling the form, he just walked away. And we were just following him. Where are you going to? Where are you going to? He said, "Okay, did I tell you I'm sick? And you're taking me to this place?" So he now started walking down, coming back to Lagos. Then we now say, So, and we don't want to rough handle him. Then at last, we just have to bring him back home. So what's your advice? What can we do? Hello?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. She got the question. Probably she needs more clarification.
Maybe there's a better way we can approach it, and another place. Maybe it's because of the name, that's Yaba opposite, that people used to be scared of. Maybe there's another place we can take him or something like that, sir.
No. Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you, my brother. I'm not very sure the question is clear, but I'll just try to, give some information anyway. Perhaps he was not attended to when you took him to Yaba?
He is yet to be attended to. We only filled the form, and from there he walked away.
Okay, so the people, the professionals there haven't had a chance to see him
at all.
Okay, you may need to find a way to ensure that at least he stays long enough to be attended to, so that the necessary assessments and next steps can be done. If the person doesn't want that kind of, because like you said, he probably doesn't want to be, to be associated with a place like that, then maybe alternatives of, him seeking help from private practitioners maybe an option to also look at. There are some people in Yaba there that in the Yaba Psychiatric Hospital that also work in their private capacity, private clinics. There are also mental health practitioners that have private practices that deal with such issues. Perhaps offline we can discuss with the organizers and we'll find a way link you up with some of these people. What it may also mean is that it may not come as free or as cheap as, you know, getting from the general, from the Yaba Psychiatric Hospital would be. But I mean, it's important that somebody is also seeks help where they are comfortable, so that they can open up. So if somebody already has a mental block about going to Yaba Pausi, so to say, you can imagine that they may not be very positive about whatever kind of help they want to get there. So that's also important to know. But I'm sure we can discuss that better offline, my brother. So reach out.
Yeah, that'll be done. I got about 2 or 3 more questions here, and a caller online. Before the call, someone says suffering marital abuse is often endorsed by a culture of not reaching out. The advice is numerous. In numerous weddings is that the couple must not let the third ear hear about their marital problems. Keep it within yourself. Keep it within yourself. Most couples are suffering in silence. How do we break the cycle of silence and get professional help?
The best way to break that cycle is for you to speak up. If we don't speak up when we need to be, we are helping to you know, perpetrate the evil. We are the society. And alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we know that whatever aspect of our culture that doesn't make common sense, so to say, that is not even in line with Islam, then that aspect of our culture should not even be encouraged, should not even be adhered to. If people during the time of the Rasul Sallallahu, women could go to him and complain of the minutest things their husbands did to him, and he got justice for them. He scolded the men when they needed to. He corrected the women when they needed to. How much more? So what aspect of our society are we going to say is encouraging abuse? Abuse of another human being? That can never be a part of Islam. And any part of any culture that is still keeping it is only because some of us are helping to encourage it. A lot of people in cultures are speaking out now. Please, no woman or man for that matter, because it swings both ways, should keep quiet whenever there is abuse, any form of abuse. We need to break that cycle by speaking up. There are government agencies that have been specially, created to help us in dealing with such issues that we can reach out to. There are mental health practitioners that can help us deal with these issues. Please, worst case, if you don't know who to reach out to the organizer so that they can point you in the right direction. But please, particularly in these times that we are in, nobody should suffer in silence. Nobody should encourage any form of abuse to be perpetrated on him or her or on anybody that they know. God so kind, even our government now, to even hear, if you hear your neighbors shouting in the night, beating themselves, you have a duty to report to the relevant authorities. Because when they come, you may be liable. You may be held accountable. So we don't even have any excuse anymore. May Allah give us that courage to reach out when we need to and help each other, or even help ourselves when we need to. There's no culture that should encourage such. And I'm bold to say that.
Amina, thank you very much. Well, I need to make some clarifications. There are some shouts at night that are better ignored.
We know those kind of shouts. We know those kind of shouts.
I hope we are adults here, and let's just leave it at that. I got another question here. It says, Salam alaikum, how can one address emotional neglect from loved ones like parents and spouses, bearing in mind that these individuals are just being themselves? That is who they are, and they don't even realize that their actions are seriously harming us. The person says, I have explained my position, but I guess old habits die hard. It seems this person is taking it well. That is what it is. What is your suggestion or advice to this person?
Well, let me first commend that person for the courage. This is one of the sad realities that we have in our society. For people to even first acknowledge that they have a problem, so many times I've had maybe one spouse reach out to me saying that, oh, they think their marriage needs help, but the other spouse will not even admit that they have a problem. They say, there's nothing wrong, our marriage is okay, we don't need any, they will not even reach out. That's, handling a difficult spouse or loved one is one of the, let me say is a trial, is a test and challenge that a lot of us are having to deal with. But sometimes when it comes to our mental health, we may be forced to have to take the journey alone. We can somehow learn to address these, issues, but for the sake of our own mental health. Now I'm talking to the person as an individual. For the sake of our own mental health, we may need to go that journey alone. And Allah in His mercy, sometimes when the other partner, the other family member sees that, oh, there's a difference in our behavior, there's a change in the way, we are doing, they may also now be encouraged, they may be motivated to reach out. But, like we say in family systems engineering, people do the best they can with the resources at their disposal. Unfortunately, most of the time is because these people don't know any better. So with increased doing of things like this, we need to just keep creating the awareness and continue to pray again that, these people, sometime soon, they will also realize the need to seek help. Sometimes it's just a little bit of building our skills here and there, and it's difficult for a lot of people to admit that, oh, I don't have the skills. Which one will want to admit? Some men, they don't want to admit that, oh, they may not have the skills to, be a good husband or a good father. And, a little push is just what they need. A little help from a professional. The same way we would go to an accountant to help us, sort out our books. The same way we go to the hospital to see a doctor. The same way we go to a lawyer when we have some, legal issues. We may need to see a professional mental health practitioner to help us with issues of the heart, with issues that have to do with our relationship, just to give us that boost, to help us develop those skills that we need to live better as individuals, with our spouses, with our family members, and all that. So, may Allah give us that hikmah to know when to reach out when it's necessary.
Allahumma ameen. Let me get a bit personal. We've spent almost 1 hour. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you so much for
time has flown by so fast.
Yes, but we are yet to even get to the root of it. Let me get personal with you. Alaja Ganiya is a princess of Oyo. I am aware of that. As a mother, as a wife, as a professional, somebody who is regularly engaged in activities, mentoring, nurturing in the community here and there, building the builders, training the trainers. How do you cope?
That's a tough one. Wallah, it is the grace of Allah. Honestly, it is the grace of Allah. Just some days ago, I was asking my husband, I said, I hope me too, I'm not feeling depressed too, because I just find that I hardly go out these days. I'm indoor most of the time, but I think it comes with knowledge about who I am, the kind of person that I am, my strengths, my weaknesses. And I think that has really helped me. And of course, alhamdulillah, because I operate in the mental health field, I think most times I also practice on myself, a case of physician, heal thyself. I think what I do has also greatly helped me. But I think more importantly, my faith has been a great anchor for me. I think in the last almost 20 years that I've been practicing, faith has been a cardinal point of my practice. I'm a faith-based therapist. My faith comes into play in almost literally everything that I do. So it has helped. I know the things I'm able to. So for instance, immediately COVID-19 started, last year, March, I just shut down my businesses. I run 2 businesses full time, my private practice as a psychologist and my food and drinks business. And I just shut down both of them. And I started staying at home, you know. Alhamdulillah, I've learned to be comfortable working from home. Even for us as a family, I think we've had that grace of, you know, enduring so far. We are mostly home anyways. We work from home even before COVID. So it has helped us to adapt to that new situation. I can go a whole week not even stepping out of my house. Yes, it takes its toll on me sometimes. And when it does, I once I start feeling like that, I know it's time to step out. Even if it's to go downstairs, take a stroll, you know, or follow my husband when he's going out, maybe to pick our daughter. I'll follow him out just to see the outside world. But you know, it's about us knowing what works for us. For some of us, we need to consciously do these things. We need, like, you know, help. We need to draw up a timetable. You understand? Literally have a calendar. After sitting down for 1 hour, it's time to get up. Many of us have Fitbits. We have apps on our phones, on our devices that we can use to help us. Oh yeah, it's time to get up. Take a stroll. These things may sound, you know, flippant. They may sound simple, but they are the things that will keep us, you know, help to keep our sanity, help us to go through this situation we find ourselves in. Well, we don't know how long it's going to last, but we have to be ready to go the long haul. We have to learn to, you know, to maintain our sanity, to keep safe while trying to keep safe. And above all, we need to practice self-preservation, because it's only those that are alive that will survive COVID now, Abby. So we all need to learn this thing. Sometimes it's easy for some of us. We can do it on our own. Sometimes we need help. Maybe small, you know, our WhatsApp groups, we create those things to help each other and encourage each other. For some of us, we need even more help. We need formal, professional help for people that can assess us objectively. You know, look at us. Okay, this is our area of weakness. These are the things we need to upgrade about ourselves, you know, so that we can better, you know, cope with the situations that we all find ourselves in, unfortunately. So whichever way, whichever category you are, please feel free to reach out. Sometimes, even if it's just to reach out to a professional, just to now, you know, be told that, oh, you're fine. Oh, you're doing great. Wow, you're coping fine. It will give you that, you know, booster that you need, that, oh, alhamdulillah, things are not as bad as, you know, I've probably thought or assumed. And then we'll continue with renewed energy. But let's not think that we can do it alone. And even for us as Muslims, we know that Islam is a religion of community. There's so much reward in doing things together. So even though physically we may not be able to come together as a community, we can still do so virtually. And I know that spiritually we'll still get the reward. I remember last year when people couldn't go for Taraweeh in congregation and all that. Some people later admitted that, oh, doing it, you know, under the COVID situations even made them more, you know, they had this intimacy with their Lord in doing things. So sometimes let's look at the blessings, so to say, that the COVID-19 situation has provided a time for us to become more intimate, one-on-one with our Lord, you know, and get more spiritual, so to say. May Allah continue to make it easy for us. That's just it.
Amen, ya Allah. Amen, ya Allah. A lot of questions there regarding how to further connect. Someone asked how to contact the organizers. Please take note of these numbers. For inquiries, you can reach MICA on via email, mica.sec@gmail.com. MICA, that is Mike, Indigo, Charlie, Alpha, mica.sec@gmail.com, or call on 0808 799 3292. Again, I'll take the number of MICA, 0808 799 3292. Please, again, secretariat@micanigeria.com is another way to reach out. Secretariat@micanigeria.com. Thank you very much. I think we got 2 hands raised. For that, can I see the hand raised? Yes. Hussein Banjo, you are permitted to talk now. Kindly unmute yourself. Hussein Banjo, your question, please. Wa alaikum salam. Your questions.
Yes, I think that the areas or sectors that deal with counseling and guidance and counseling need to play a role in helping people concerning their mental health and emotion and their controls of emotions. And for what I've seen, it's those that actually have a certification in psychology and mental health that only do that. Those that give certification in guiding and counseling, like the state governments will take some of their government school teachers and give them some 3-day guiding and counseling programs. Probably are not really taking into consideration areas of mental health, because from research, even children within the age of 16 and 19 are equally committing suicide. And this is because of their poor level of mental health. And then the school guiding counseling staff in their school has, sorry to say, close to no knowledge concerning mental health. And then it seems like some technologies are wrongly used. When you talk about the male child not being emotionally attended to, telling him to keep his emotions to he or himself, and words like "you are a man," "be a man," "men do not cry." Some of those words are used in wrong situations. In a family whereby everyone is a graduate, the child with the lowest GP is close to a nobody. On simple cases like, what are we going to eat today? If the boy decides, Mommy, let's do ikokore, and every other person that has 4.5 upwards says, no, I can bet it with you. It's either they tell him to go and cook his ikokore by himself, or he eats what everybody's eating. From there, it keeps going up. Once you are not even a matter of you are the youngest. See, if your younger one has a better GP than you're in trouble. Oh, let me know money. That's how it is. In a situation whereby all of these things are not being addressed and it keeps going up right from his home, he's being taught to keep it to himself. Outside the school, when he's being bullied, the so-called guidance and counseling staff in the school has no knowledge of mental health. They cannot render any help. So it keeps going up till he becomes an adult, and then when he gets into the marital circle, there's more or less nothing you can do to tell the person to open up, because he has spent almost a decade being taught how to close up and not to open up to anybody. It's like outside that, even our educational sector is just so messed up. Jack Ma, the richest man in China, owner of Alibaba Express, said while he was in school, what they taught him was how to make profits, how to make sales. Nobody taught anybody in business administration how to fail. Nobody taught them that when you fail, it is not the end of business. When you fail, it's showing you another way of how to you to know is this is how to make profits. And the moment you don't make profits, you are on your own. No family member will listen to you. They'll be like, you're in the business world, you're a failure, you are this, you are that. Stigmatization, it's on almost every areas of our lives.
Because
So
of
it's
time, brother Hussein, as much as I am really enjoying your contributions, because of time, could you just sum up a question or maybe your comments, please?
my question is, how do we get these people involved in the mental health programs that we have, like getting those that are, the guardian and counseling staffs and parents? How do we get them involved in
Proper training.
proper training about mental health?
All right, thank you so much. Sister Agwania.
That's thank you, my brother, for the contribution. That's a reality we would always have to face. And I think perhaps till the end of time, one way or the other, there will always be a form of stigmatization of all these problems that we've mentioned. They will always be there, maybe in various at various levels of seriousness or severity and all that. So, but as human beings, ours is to keep striving, ours is to keep doing the best that we can. But then at the same time, we can only help people that reach out. Parents that want the best for their children. I mean, even the parents, the mother in the village now knows the importance of, her child being above, above God, so to say. So they are making effort. So when parents first realize that they lack certain skills and they are willing to learn about those skills, then there will certainly be a difference in the kind of children they will be bringing up. The same thing for our schools. Mental health, it's a wild field. People that study guidance and counseling, they are operating at one end, at one level of that. Yes, they may not, just like a nurse cannot do the work of a doctor, and a general practitioner cannot do the work of a specialist in medicine. The same way in mental health, there are some things a guidance counselor will not be able to do because they are not equipped to deal with it. But within their own sphere, how are they utilizing their skills? How are schools making use of the guidance counselors that they have employed? Are they checking up on the kids periodically? Do they have the right tools to even help the guidance counselors work with those children? Mental health is a vast field, but each of us, whether we are on the professional side or we are on the giving side or on the receiving side, we all need to play our part. Is a tough one, but as long as people like you speak up, but you are not just speaking up, you are taking action. You are taking the necessary action, even if it's just to create awareness within your immediate environment, within your sphere of your sphere of influence, or how do they say? Then we can all begin to make that change that we seek. But people will always do the best they can with the resources at their disposal. What kind of resources do we have at our disposal? How are we making use of them? How are we utilizing them? This is the question I think we should live with and ask ourselves again, and ask our neighbors, the person next to us, how are we making use of the resources at our disposal? May we be able to use all the things that Allah has endowed us with for good, not just for ourselves, but also for society at large.
Allah. This may be the last comment and question we may be taking, because we just got just a few minutes to wrap it up. I love this particular name. Someone somewhere wants to speak. Someone somewhere.
Okay.
Make it brief, please.
Yes. So my question is, what if I haven't summed up the courage to seek professional help? Is there a way that I can help myself if I know I have a problem? Like, I don't know if it is anxiety, yes, because there are so many other things it could be. What if it's just laziness? What if it's just one thing that you haven't addressed that is clouding your mind? What if I don't want to talk to
5 minutes?
Is there anything I can help myself with?
Thank you.
That's self-help, so to say. Yes, I mean with Google, I really wouldn't encourage that. But you know, it's better than nothing. But you can go online, search. But we know that as much as we have good information online, we also have bad information. So why don't you help yourself in the simplest way by getting a professional to quickly point you in the right direction. In fact, with therapy, with counseling, we call it the talk therapy. Most times you are the one that will do the healing by yourself. The professional is just there to guide you. Sometimes in some counseling sessions, the professional may not even say a word. You are allowed to talk, to share, to
Pour
open
out.
up, pour out your heart in those 30 minutes. That's what some people pay for. And some people appreciate it. They pay for sessions. They just for the counselor to listen to them. Maybe some of us Nigerians will be like, so I will pay this money just for somebody to listen to me talk. But for some, that's all the help that they need. So sometimes the best way to help yourself is to get somebody that can help you better and faster. I hope that doesn't sound self-serving, but because nowadays, if you Google, you can go online and Google a lot of things that are not even good for you. If you Google, for instance, how to kill yourself, there are 1,000,001 ways that you see. So I wouldn't necessarily encourage people to seek help, via such means, but seek help from the right places with the right people, and they may just give you self-help tips that you can now go and use at home and become better, inshallah. So I hope you'll be reaching out soon, someone somewhere, so that we can talk more about it, inshallah.
Okay, no problems. I want to thank you very much. Simbiato, Pakunle, Kubra Shoibo, Erelu Agbaye, Karim Akiade, and lots more who are online, who are with us on the Zoom session. Thank you very, very much for being a part of this. And I hope very soon we have the cause to come back and further discuss. This particular event has been organized by MICA Nigeria in collaboration with Niger FM, because both groups believe strongly in the community reaching out, keeping the discussion on. A lot of people asked for questions regarding how to contact the organizers. Please, you can call the organizers, contact the organizers on 0808 799 3292. Again, 0808 799 3292, or via email mica.sec@gmail.com. mica.sec@gmail.com. The MICA is Mike Indigo Charlie Alpha, MICA, mica.sec@gmail.com, and we'll be very pleased to hear from you. Thank you so much. I must at this point request that we remember one of us, very humble, hardworking, very loving brother who Allah has decided to have on his own side of existence. We lost a brother, a friend, and a star. He is popularly known as Sound Sultan. Brother Abdul, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He owns us, and unto him shall be our return. Sound Sultan is no more. Painful, hard. We commiserate with members of his immediate family and the Ummah at large. It's really painful for all of us, but I think it's a message to all of us that a time will come when we shall be no more. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept his return and Jannah Firdaus. This is the information that just reached us, and we pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to be with the family after his demise. Olorewaju Abdulgani Fasasi, popularly known as Sound Sultan. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to overlook his shortcomings and grant him a Jannah Firdaus. Can we recite Surah Al-Ikhlas? May Allah Azza wa Jalla pardon our brother, Sound Sultan, Abdulgani Olorewaju Fasasi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad,
Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad.
This is a strong supporter of MICA and a great pride to us as Huma. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept his ibadah and grant all of us the fortitude to bear this. Amen. Information from MICA before we wrap it up finally. Contact details and appreciation to everyone who participated. Can we have a voice from MICA, please?
Jazakumullah khaira.
You need to unmute yourself, Sister Kadira. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, she has also.
Yes, my name is Kubrat Kadiri on behalf of MICA. We just want to say thank you for anchoring this session. We also want to thank Sister Ganiat. Thank you very much for all you do. For all you do for MICA and others. We really appreciate you very much. And just the last reminder for people who want information as regards MICA, you can always send in your emails to secretariat@MICA Nigeria and also MICA, MICA.sec@gmail.com. And you can also call in on 080-8799-3292. Please feel free to ask any questions. If you need any referrals, if you want to know more about our wonderful speaker, if you want to get in contact with people, please don't hesitate to contact us. And we also want to call on the general public. Please be members of MICA. Try as much as possible to volunteer with MICA. We are all here for Islamic culture awareness to also bring us Muslim back into the deen. So thank you very much for attending this session, and we look forward to more beautiful, wonderful sessions next week. Thank you all for attending.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. And of course, it's not MICA is not limited to those in Nigeria alone. Those in diaspora also, you are equally welcome. Alhamdulillah, I am proud to identify always with MICA, not only myself as well as my family. Alhamdulillah, Niger FM is really proud to be a part of this, and this is in fulfillment of our commitment to our community. We pray God Almighty to accept this as act of ibadah from all of us. My take home today is that first, mind your mind. You need to take care of yourself, your care, your mental well-being. First, your personal responsibility. So mind your mind. Nothing do you, my brother, sister, nothing do you at all. That we think, oh, it seems the world is ending, it's all on my shoulders. No, nothing do you. It is mostly normal, and you are stronger than your challenges. So now who can you be? Not be man alone. Now human being. Now person you be. So don't talk alone. Speak up and take action. Sometimes just taking a walk will help. Above all, get in touch with professionals to really help you. That singular help will go a long way in assisting all of us. Thank you very much, Sister Ghaniya, Princess Ghaniya, Sulaiman Olokudano, for being a part of it. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to grant us more beautiful collaborations like this. On behalf of the Chief Executive Officer of Niger FM, Mr. Kent Uche, I remain forever yours, Abdulgani Olawale Hassan, and I urge you to join us same time very soon for another exciting engagement, community engagement. Till then, I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Rashid, Babalola, thank you very much for being a part of it. The Olokodanos, thank you so much.
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you, MICA, for having me once again. It's been a pleasure and honor for me to do this every time. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan to everyone too. Thank you very much. May Allah honor you all.
Ameen.
Ameen, ya Allah. Ameen, ya Allah.
So, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, sir.